guys, before this video gets started, I just want to give a shout out to John Bain, aka Total Biscuit, who passed away last night from cancer, aged 33. Bain hosted a podcast called, first World of Warcraft Radio from 2005 to 2010. He joined a YouTube network making videos on the World of Warcraft series. He was also a StarCraft 2 commentator and sponsor and manager of a pro team Annexum, if I got the pronunciation right. He was best known for his YouTube channel Total Biscuit, which grew into one of the most popular gaming channels on the platform, with over 2 million subscribers, with his WTF Is videos and variety of games and co-optional podcasts and vlogs on a number of topics, including his battle with cancer. When he wrote in his statement, in his retirement statement, "When I leave this world, I want to leave something for my family can use to help them earn," wrote Bain in his retirement statement earlier this month, in which he said he expected the co-optional podcast to be taken over by Jenna after his death. "It's been a privilege," he wrote. "Thank you for all for letting me into your life and to do something so important as to have an impact on how you spend your hard-earned money." This is tragic news today. He's been living with it for 3 years. He battled hard. He leaves behind his wife and 3 kids. This is one of the recent new generations of celebrities or YouTubers or whatever you want to call them, since the platform even started, that have passed away. There have been a few since, Angry Grandpa, for example, being one of them, and a bunch of others, but they went in circumstances. One, about 70s or 80s or whatever is expected. One took his own life. For example, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's been all these big YouTubers and they've died for various reasons. But it's, you can expect someone of old age, to just go and eventually. But this person was 33 years of age and went too soon, way before his time. And it's an injustice, in my opinion. Well, what can you do about it? That's life. I think I speak for everyone, someone who knows people who live with cancer, who have seen people die from cancer. Fuck cancer, man. It's a bitch. Anyway, guys, sorry to start the video on such a downer, but I thought I would acknowledge him as a YouTuber touching millions of people around the world with his knowledge and his critique and his style of criticisms and detailed analysis of his games that he reviewed and played. And he teach you a thing or two. He taught me 1 or 2 things about the YouTube codex, for example. I didn't even know that. How fucking Far Cry 4, I think it was 4, or was it Primal? I think it was Primal that actually couldn't handle it, you know what I mean? I watched a whole bunch of videos. I used to watch them a lot in the past. I stopped watching over a period of time because I did YouTube myself and did other things. And funny enough, as a YouTuber, you find yourself doing YouTube and not actually watching a lot of YouTube. But anyway, guys, so rest in peace to Total Biscuit, who will be sorely missed by his millions of fans around the world and those who he touched through the millions of views that, he watched his content. Hey guys, welcome back to INSANEBRIT Gaming. I'm the INSANEBRIT, and today's News Friday, I'm going to talk about 2 specific subjects, and that is the PlayStation 5 life cycle tweet ending, as it were, as the PlayStation 5 dies out, supposedly, or whatever. I'm going to put that into some kind of context for you, and then give you my thoughts and opinions on that. If you are interested in any polls that I got running, check out the community tab, and also if you're interested in the Black Ops having no story mode, my opinion, that is a separate video for that specifically, because it goes into some detail. That's about 20 minutes long, so I wanted to separate that because it is quite long, and I didn't want this video to go on forever, like 50 minutes or something, you know what I mean? Also, I'm going to be talking about the Battlefield in this video as well. I saw the trailer last night. I'll give you my thoughts on it, and I will give you opinion and controversial things going on with that as well. So let's jump straight on in at the PlayStation 4. Now, the PlayStation 4 is entering its final phase of its life cycle, according to Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO John Kodera. Speaking at Sony's Investors Relations Day in 2018, Kodera spoke candidly to investors, analysts and reporters regarding the future of the PlayStation 4 console, acknowledging the PS4's remaining time was limited, but the brand's future remains strong. It's important to frame Kodera's language within the context of the event. Now, he was speaking to investors basically in the company investors in terms of having what they've sold already to the consumer or customer. They've sold 70 million PlayStation 4s already. That means basically there is less opportunity to sell more going forward. This period is lessened hardware sales in Kadira is referring to as the console's final phase, the implication of which is that new hardware such as the PlayStation 5 is being prepared to take over. Basically, they sold to a massive market, everybody has one, and they're already playing, and any potential earnings will slow down in the PlayStation 4 because everybody has one, or most people have one. You know, and then they've got the PlayStation 4 Pro as well, whether people chose to buy that or not, or wait for the PS5, which is more or less, I think, happening. That is going to happen in the near future. Following that thread, Kadira would go on to say between now and March 2021 would be when the PlayStation crouches down in order to grow in the future. This lends itself to the current speculation that the PlayStation 5 console will launch in late 2019 or 2020. If Kadira expects new growth by the end of 2021 fiscal year, which ends on March 2021, a 2020 PS5 launch makes a lot of sense. Console launches are typically quite costly, so the growth would occur in the fiscal year, but the launch of the fiscal year after instead. He would go on to say that membership service for the PlayStation has been expected to remain strong. Sony announced PlayStation Plus crossed 34.2 million subscribers just over a month, so it's definitely underlying the company's success. On the other hand, Kadira also said while PlayStation VR is seeing growth, the virtual reality industry's overall growth is below expectations. He says PlayStation aims for further growth with a realistic outlook. In the near future, he expects a release of exclusive games for both PlayStation 4 and PSVR. Curiously, he mentioned a focused franchise on successful IPs and a refreshing of IPs. They're referring to God of War, the refresh for Naughty Dog's upcoming Last of Us sequel. Though, considering Sony's success of third-party titles, it could referring to any number of games. PlayStation is entering its final phase of its life cycle. Luckily, what that means for PlayStation 4 owners is more of the same great lineup of games that has made the console consistently great over the years since its launch, but the release of the PlayStation 5 does loom in the next several years. What the console will bring is anyone's guess. Okay, so basically what he's saying is that they've sold to every single gamer and everyone more or less has one, so there's no need for us right now, in the next 1 or 2 years in theory, unless mine breaks, to go out and buy a PlayStation 4. They're not going to be making as much money, the growth will slow down, and that happens with every single product. iPhone 4, 5, 6, whatever, everyone rushes out and buy them, then it goes down, and then after so many years, it's like everyone's either got one, or you know, they bring out the next piece of tech hardware coming out or whatever, and like PCs and stuff like that has to constantly upgrade the hardware to play bigger and better games and stuff like that. Technology advances so much these days, it is what it is. I personally won't be investing in VR because I find it too gimmicky, it's too expensive, and there's not enough games out for it. However, where do we go from here? Now, I'm going to make a prediction that it's going to be in 2019. They might hint at saying in 2018, and then 2019 we see the PlayStation 5 at the E3, and then it launches on Christmas. That's what I'm speculating will happen. And I say that on the crunch, on the numbers, because if you look here, in 1994 they released the PlayStation 1. In 2000, 6 years later, PlayStation 2. In 2006, it was the PlayStation 3, and 2013 was the PlayStation 4. Now, technically, you could call the PlayStation 4 2014 because it came out a month before 2014. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 5 years. It's been 5 years. So, more or less. So, next year, 2019, is when they'll be launching the PS5 console. That's what I'm going on. Not only on that, but you know what I mean. I just feel that would be the way it's going to go. I think that, but I also know for a fact that there was rumours ages ago. Sorry, let me switch back to the camera. That they had given the dev kits already to the gaming companies to make games and stuff like that. Which everyone's been hush hush. A lot of gaming companies came out and said, well, a few of them said, yeah, we've got the dev kits. You know. Like, don't say it was us, but we've got them. And then a lot of other companies said, no, we ain't heard nothing about it. So there's two elements there, one of them denying it completely, and the other one saying, yeah, we've got them. And I know it's been 4 or 5 years, but somebody who watches the industry or you know, does this kind of thing, I already remember the following, and I remember the fact that there was not enough games, and even now, a lot of the games that I'm playing are HD versions, remastered, and there's only a couple of exclusives. I mean, you've got Bloodborne, you've got the, Last of Us was remastered, you know, you just got all these, I can't even mention, I'm trying to look at my games to see exclusives, and most of them, Nier Automata was one of them, or whatever. But a lot of games you'll find are a lot of HD remakes, and even now it feels like they're just seeping out, coming out with a lot of games just recently. God of War being one of them, for example. And it just feels like this generation was like a lost generation for a stupid mistake of not giving them the dev kits earlier. Everything seems to be HD'd up. You know, I swear to God, I could look on my PlayStation and there's loads of HD versions of different games of the old generations, and it feels like it was the generation HD remake. So it feels like the game companies didn't have enough time to develop games for the PlayStation 4, and that's why it feels like it's very hit and miss with this console generation. So I think they've looked at that and said, you know what, let's not make that mistake. Give the game companies, the devs, the year or two or three even before. Let them plan something, and then we'll have a lot of great games coming out when the actual console launches. And thank God if that is the case, because I do want games when it comes out. I don't want to have to wait 3 or 4 years. If you're looking at Anthem, you've got a lot of games on E3 that are going to be announced or are going to be seeping through, and that will give us in the next 1 or 2 years a chance to play those games. But what does this mean as a PlayStation owner? Are you disappointed? Are you annoyed you've bought the Pro and you're like, blah, 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 I should just wait and got the PS5? I don't know. As a PlayStation 4 Pro owner or whatever, I personally don't mind, because I use the hell out of my PlayStation 4 and I absolutely love it, and I had to buy it because the disc thing was going a bit dodgy, so I was like, fuck it, I'll invest in one of those, and I'm quite happy if I've done so. Having said that, if the PlayStation 5 does launch in 2019, which is my prediction, I will buy it, but I will keep the PlayStation 4, play all the games that I want to play on that, earn the trophies, see the playthrough, see the experience of that, share it with you, and then I will go to the PlayStation 5, and then I will probably sell my PlayStation 4 Pro privately, by the way. I won't be taking it CX or anywhere, because they give you crap money, like 100 quid. I'd rather sell it for 250 or something like that with all the games in a bargain or something, you know what I mean? If I'm done with the console or whatever else, and I'll move on to the PlayStation 5. And that asks the question, if PlayStation 5 are coming out, or the PlayStation might come out with PlayStation 5 in 2019 or 20, what are Xbox going to be doing? And the next question is, what you're going to go for? The Xbox, just say the Xbox Zero, or the PS4, PS5 in the next console. Which side are you going to be on? I personally am going to be buying the PlayStation 5, and then what I'm going to do is I will wait for the Xbox, the next one, and I'll buy that later on, as it's not a main priority. I've still got a lot of Xbox games to play, mostly Halo and Gears, because they haven't really got anything. And I hope to God they take this opportunity, Xbox, to get more exclusives thrown out there, but I don't know. I have faith in them doing that. I just don't know. But they're having their asses handed to them in this generation. I hope they pull their heads out their asses in respects to that. So I'll leave a bunch of polls in the community tab as well, where you can vote on them if you'll be upgrading. I mean, if you're excited for the PlayStation 5 or whatever it is, I'll come up with a poll and you guys can interact with that and see what people think, and I think that's interesting to gauge people's different opinions and stuff like that. But like I said, my prediction, 2019, we'll have a PlayStation 5. If it ain't announced, it will be released. That is my general opinion on that. Next story is Battlefield, but I'm going to cut the camera right now, and then before I get back to that. Hey guys, so I've just seen the Battlefield 5 trailer. Looked very action-packed, looked very interesting. I'm hoping they have the one story in it, so I don't have to cope with the breaking up of stories. I want one big story so I can just go through it and enjoy it for what it is, instead of having to pay attention to separate stories, which was a good idea in theory, and it kind of worked. But for me, I prefer the one story all the way through instead of separate individual stories, which kind of frustrated me, and I had to have an opinion on one, and then I like one more than others, which kind of broke the game down for me and really kind of disappointed for me. It's not like it's a level where I can say this level was better than that level. Well, that's fine, but the actual overall story was separated, and I feel I just really want that one story narrative so I can just go through it and go, that was a great story, that was a great X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? And I know all the characters all the way through, and watch them develop and grow over time, or die, or live, or save someone, whatever it may be. That's the way I like to play my game, so I hope they've gone down that narrative. However, I will talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the fact that they used a woman in the actual advert, action-packed. Yes, the advert was good, it had action and fighting, and she looked like a badass. I'm not doubting that, but a lot of people on the comment section I noticed, and it's straight away, I noticed it as well, that yes, it was a woman character thrown in your face straight away. And we have a lot of women characters. You know, if you look at Max Caulfield, Chloe, Resident Evil characters, Laura Croft. There's a fuck ton out there already of female characters, and there's going to be more as time goes on, and that's understandable. But it feels like it was more. It feels like it's political correctness in our games once more shoved down our throat. And you know, there's nothing wrong with female characters, but it just felt that the narrative was too in your face. And people and gamers are smart, believe it or not. If we were a little bit more smarter, if you're really smart like me, you wouldn't buy every single game full price and swallow their shit and put up with a lot of crap that they do, like buying every single game on the day or pre-ordering it and then realizing you thought it was shit. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, I have no problem with female characters in games or anything like that, but it felt like it was political correctness, and especially people complaining because women were not actually in World War One or Two. Well, on the front line combat, so we don't know what her role in particular was. Now, yes, women were in the war, of course. They did factory work, they built bombs, tanks, they did the communications, they were in intelligence, they actually were fighter pilots as well in World War One and Two, I believe. And there was a women army, but they were not on the. They actually got disbanded after the war as well, but they were not actually on the front lines. So when this female character comes along, she's wiping out Germans, assuming they're Germans, non-stop, like one after the other. It seemed very inaccurate, and people weren't happy about it. The flip side of it is people will say, well, it's a video game, it's not supposed to be accurate, it's just a video game. Well, if it, you know, you say that, but you know, it's just fresh. You know, why even bother with the guns that are supposed to be accurate of World War II? Why bother going with the planes? Why going with the locations of where we're going to be fighting? How can everything be accurate except that one thing? Because it doesn't suit your PC narrative, you know what I mean? Your political correctness bullshit. I just don't like seeing it in our games. Gamers are smart that way, and they just don't like it. There are probably a minority of people that hate women, or kids that don't like girls, who say, oh, girls shouldn't even play video games, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. There are probably those people out there. Me, personally, I think it's inaccurate, and like they're just doing it for political correctness, you know what I mean? That's just my general opinion. Well, I think that's the truth, to be honest with you. And as gamers, we're sick and tired of seeing it shoved in our games that, you know, it just feels that way, you know what I mean? Every time there's some kind of political message there, and it's an inaccuracy because the past doesn't fit today's standards of what it was actually like back then, you know what I mean? So they've changed it up. We don't know the actual main thing of this character. She may be in intelligence, like the women did the actual role back in the day. So whatever, it is what it is. I don't think it's going to stop people from buying the game, but people do acknowledge of what it is, and are like, oh, come on, man, stop with this shit. You know, and I was actually doing some research into the actual why women weren't allowed in the army, and why up until recently they weren't allowed on. Well, they were allowed in the army, but they weren't allowed to do frontline combat or whatever. And apparently, it was to do with the training. The level of training was very difficult. You had to have £100 worth of kit on you in the jungle, in the desert, wherever it was, and then actually go and physically kill an enemy. And you've got to be dealing with the mental anguish and the physical anguish of having to actually accomplish that. And partly the reason is, from ex-colonel, said that it was to do with the cohesion of the army, because the women couldn't fulfill certain roles in the infantry sector, being one of the toughest, and the men would have to pick up the slack, which would cause the cohesion of the army and resentment in the army between male and female soldiers. So basically, people had to pick up slack for the other sex not doing their part. This is what was feared, and that was one of the reasons why they weren't allowed in it. That was in 2016, and up until recently, maybe 2017, the United States changed this and let people in the army. Other countries have also done the same. The UK is about to review that and let girls in the army, well, in the combat roles. They are currently in the army. They're doing engineer roles, medical stuff and whatever other roles, but they're not actually in frontline combat roles. But it is set to be reviewed in 2018, and it's apparently going to help cover the shortfall in the army that we have. But we're also downsizing our army from 102,000 to 88,000 or something like that in the year 2021, something like that. So essentially, I'm just stating you that's what's happening. Me personally, my personal view on it is I think that women should be on the army in the front lines as long as they can achieve the training and be at that standard, that high level with the men. That's fine. If you can pass that test, then go nuts. You know what I mean? Do what you want. I'm not somebody who says that women should be in the kitchen or anything like that. Women can do anything from sweeping the streets to building a space station in space. I don't know. It doesn't bother me, but as long as the fear was that they'd have to lower that bar to let more women into the army, which on a recent article that I read or about it when I was doing the research said that would have to happen. The MOD has denied this, but whatever, it is what it is. Because another factor is that it would cost lives. In Hellman, he said that it took 7 or 8 men, to save one person that was injured. There's 8 people out of the fight in the battle when fighting an enemy to save one person, and if more casualties were there, how many people that's going to be? Another casualty here, another casualty there. That's 16 people out of the fight because there's somebody injured, whatever. Plus women were also prone to musculoskeletal condition as well in training. In actual fact, 2 women got paid £100,000 by the RAF because they injured themselves while marching with the men, but they could not keep up the marching with the men in the stride. So the RAF changed it and put the women in front of the men and made the men take shorter strides to counteract it so that wouldn't happen again. But 100,000 each because you injured yourself fucking walking? Really? Oh my god. Whatever. It is what it is. I know that's going off on a tangent on political stuff and blah blah blah. But I just want to explain to you why women were not allowed in the army and how it's changing. But they've got this woman in the game front and center trying to promote that. It's not historically accurate. We'll have to see what her role is. I don't know. I just don't like the political correctness bullshit being shoved down our throat. It'll be all inclusive with this or with that. It just feels annoying as hell. And when I play a game or something like that, I don't really need to know the character's sexuality or anything like that. It goes into all realms of different things. But I'll give you an example. And I'll take being gay one of them. Right, because we're talking about that kind of gender, gays, straight kind of, you know what I'm saying, all that kind of realm it goes into. Like when you go into, I don't know, it depends. I mean, if I ran a channel, or somebody ran a channel, about being gay or something like that, there are those channels out there, by the way, then that's what their subject is about. But if if you jumped on my channel now, watch this video, and then the first thing I say is, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm gay, blah, blah, blah. That's not how it really is in the real world. Or at least I don't think it. I don't see gay people. If you're a gay person or something like that, or transsexual, or whatever, do you go and announce yourself as gay straight away? No. You say, my name is Tom or Dave or Sarah or whatever. I do this for a living, or this is my hobbies. I know this person through this. Or you go throughout several different things before you even find out they're gay. Maybe when you ask that person out or suggest something, you know what I mean? Then you find out that they're gay, or maybe they've got a really persona of how they act, where you go, my gaydar's going off. I think this person's gay. Even I've had that when talking to people, and then I asked them later on when I know them a little bit better, or I ask somebody else, is he gay, or is this person, you know what I mean? And then often enough, I get the reply, no, I'm not. But I say, okay, it's your voice. But you see what I mean? But then again, you can't tell who's gay. It doesn't matter how they sound or whatever. But you get those signals in your mind, like, they seem a little bit that way. But of course, everyone could be wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. But I'm just giving you an example. But that is not how you present yourself. That is not how you describe yourself in a job interview. You don't go, "Hi, Chris, I'm gay," or "Sarah, gay." They know it doesn't work that way. So I don't like the political narrative of ramming it down people's throats, or the inaccuracy of this because you know, it doesn't fit their narrative, like the political correctness. But who knows? We have to see what her role is, and I'm only saying it based on facts of what they did in the war to what this game is trying to make them out to be or perceive them to be, or their role. You know, it's stupid. I don't like it, and I don't think a lot of gamers like it. I don't think there's any more news stories to talk about. I do have one other, but I might do a separate video on it. I might change up a little bit in the next few weeks or whatever. I was thinking maybe I'll make a separate vlog on this. I don't know. I was thinking about, because the Call of Duty video that I did got 20 views or something silly like that. You know, considering 1,800 of you sitting there. Basically, I wondered if I should do separate videos on different topics, or should I just stick with this News Friday? I mean, I like the News Friday. Maybe I'll just keep it for certain topics, I don't know, because then I could focus the video on one particular topic, and then you wouldn't have to sit through 20 minutes. I don't know. It depends. This video's gone on long enough anyway. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on that. Let me know on your thoughts on any of the stories that I talked about, including the PlayStation 5 or whatever, my speculation on that. I will leave there is a food review out this way. Sorry, I should have said that at the beginning. There is there's a poll that I'll do as well. You can take part in the poll down below, whether you'll be buying Call of Duty, not down below, in the comment section, no, in the community section, sorry, of my channel. You can check that out and take part in that poll if you haven't already. If you will, basically, it's if you will buy Call of Duty now that it has no story mode or whatever else. I'll probably start running 1 or 2 polls about different things, different subjects, to get the communities to engage and see where people stand on it. I think that's pretty cool. Rather than have to comment on what your opinion is, you can just vote on it, and I can see where people are at with it, and then give you the results of the video or something, you know, in the next week or something. I think that's pretty cool, and I'll do that on the community tab where everybody is located. Not everybody follows me on Twitter. Not everybody follows me on Instagram. It is what it is. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Links are in the description below, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.